Forest River Marine here, we do what we call an inbound inspection. So that way about 90% of the merchandise that actually comes in gets inspected straight off the truck before it goes to the assembly line, before it goes to the production line. This particular instance here, we're inspecting the furniture which comes from Lexington. And on each and every one, we have a complete order. It's listed by boat number, serial number, and every particular part that's on this boat. As you can see in the background here, we actually have the people inspecting to make sure there's no defects, that it's the right color, the right size, and that all the parts and pieces are here. A lot of times we have some damage along the bottom edges, so we have somebody always check that. It's throughout our whole system here. We do these checks for helms, we do them for chassis, we do it for furniture, we do it for the countertops coming in. It makes things easier on the line if it's inspected here. That way the damages don't ever make it into the building, they get sent back to the vendor. Just recently we've instituted a new program here where we actually have the team leaders buy off from one station to another with a QA person to monitor them. As you can see here, they're walking the boat with using the order and the specs from NMMA and the United States Coastal Service. So that way each and every boat is built to their specifications and regulations. But what they do here is the station has just been completed this boat, which is decking. He is getting ready to sell it to the next station, which installs the rails and the helms and the furniture. So if this boat is not completely done properly, then they'll go through and they'll red tape any violations that they find. The previous team leader then has to fix those deviations before it moves on to the next station. We actually do this about 3 or 4 times down the line with other stations. A crucial part of our inspection here at Forest River Marine is to make sure that the fuel system, the helm or console, all of the gauges and things work. So what we do here is every boat, we pressurize the fuel tank to 5 pounds. Then depending upon what size the fuel tank is, whether we leave the pressure on there for 5 minutes or 6 minutes. Right now she just got done spraying each and every one of the connections to make sure that there's no leaks. If there's a leak, obviously it has to be corrected at this point. There can be no leakage whatsoever. There's no 5% or anything like that. It has to all hold every ounce of air that we put back in there. She'll go back in and check it here in 5 minutes. During this time, we go over and we decided we need to do the helm area. Now each one of these has a helm or a console, and we test to make sure that all the gauges work properly, that the trim gauge works, the speedometer, the radio, the USB ports, just to make sure that there are no issues with this boat. That way, as soon as the customer gets it, it's ready to have a motor put on it and go right out in the water. Okay. As the boat finishes completion, we begin down here with the inspection process of actually, most of the time it's the cosmetics because most of the regulations have already been checked up and down the line. This QA person here is checking the bolts to make sure they're tight, checking the skin to make sure there's no dents or creases, make sure it's the right color, and she'll go all the way around the boat, make sure that everything is done according to the order that the customer wanted. Okay, the last step of our QA program is to actually take pictures of each and every boat that comes down off our line. This is actually a twofold process in the fact that we get the pictures taken. There's also one more set of eyes to make sure that everything is done on the boat and done correctly, and it's done to our current standards. For these pictures, we use them for 2 specific purposes. One would be our warranty department, in which if there's something has to be replaced, we have a current picture of what it was before the boat went off to the customer. And the second thing is to make sure that we maintain the quality level that we have right now. We can go back 6, 8 months, even a year, and verify, that our quality standards a year ago are the same thing they are now, or that they're actually elevated to this point, which is what we always try to do. We use continuous improvement to make sure that we always get better with the building of the boats and the inspecting.